Right, let's take you straight to the Union buildings as the first day of the 15th BRICS summit gets underway. President Cyril Ramaphosa hosting his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping on an official state visit at the Union buildings. Well, the two countries marking 25 years of official diplomatic relations in January, and these are expected to be strengthened. So let's speak to our colleague Ziyanda Ngcobo, who is at the Union buildings. Ziyanda, good morning to you once again. A very, very important mission for the president, working alongside his Chinese counterpart, and that is to help strengthen ties between the two nations. What kind of agreements can we expect to be signed?
Well, Xoli, let's bring in the International Relations Minister who can give us more clarity on that. Minister, it's a big week for South Africa. The entire globe will have its eyes on us, wanting to see the nature of the discussions. What's bringing us together? Is it resources? Is it ideology? And I guess from my side, Minister, what kind of commitments can we anticipate by the end of this week?
Well, I think what's bringing us together is that we're a forum of countries that have shared perspectives on a range of global issues. And essentially, our focus is developmental, is progressive. We seek to establish institutions that have a greater attention to representativity, to inclusivity, and to ensuring that we are working to create a world that is more just and fair. So we really are a set of countries that have shared notions about these aspects. Hence, the big achievement of establishing the new development bank, which is an international financial institution that tries to set a new criteria in place to address the infrastructure and other needs of developing countries. So I think we're really trying to set a new pace as the BRICS Forum.
Speaking of pace, I was actually going there, Minister, because when this, formation was put together, many criticized it as another talk shop. But when you look at the politics across the globe now, it seems that there's a renewed hunger to really, nail your colors to the mast, really, and commit in a more tangible way when it comes to this meeting. And why is it then important to even have the Chinese president's state visit before we even get the summit underway?
Well, as I have attempted to explain previously, relations between countries might very well be multilateral, be made up of more than one, but also you have bilateral relations. And the bilateral relationship between China and South Africa is very important for us. This is an extremely large market. It's the second largest economy in the world and set very soon to become the largest. It has huge technology innovation that we could draw on as South Africa, and is a big trade partner for us. So I think we value the relationship with China and would want to broaden it even further. I've been really thrilled at the work of Minister Didiza in getting our beef back into China. This is fantastic for our farmers in the beef domain. And I'm hoping that on citrus we're going to see even more. So this is a very vital bilateral relationship, hence us having a state visit. And I may say, President Xi has not visited any country 4 times. And it's just South Africa is the first in the world. And so this is really a feather in our cap.
Quite telling it is. Let's allow Minister Pandor to leave. She has to, of course, Xoli, go and greet her guests. And as the main person, of course, as we have the state visit. But, critical to what, the minister was speaking about is how there is this huge trade engagement between China and South Africa. I mentioned rooibos tea and wine being one of the biggest products that China exports from us in South Africa. Now our beef has returned to the market. I want to try, Goli, to my right, there's the finance minister. We're just going to pull the camera from the tripod, so do forgive our shaky visuals while we try and move towards Enoch Godongwana. I think he's a critical person to get, a soundbite from. We need to know how much money are we getting from this? How much are South Africans going to benefit? And so let's listen into what he's saying.
Which is dealt with by the central banks.
What's your appetite for, as Sarah, my colleague, asked, on the de-dollarization of the global economy?
I'm saying there's a lot of languages which are being used, which I'm basically uncomfortable using at this stage, because that's not the current debate. The current debate is how do we finance projects in each of the BRICS member states in their own currencies. In other words, you must have seen the NDB has raised about 1.5 billion rand. They are going to finance that South African projects with that 1.5 billion rand. Although I believe it's small, there's a huge gap because the pipeline is bigger than 1.5. So they'll still finance the remainder in dollars.
Minister, you're live on Newzroom Afrika. My apologies if you've already responded to this, but I wanted to get a sense from you. I see you've just responded to this so-called de-dollarization, but do you get a sense that there's a genuine attempt to do trade, or is it a sense that, these other big countries are under pressure? The Chinese economy really is slumping, and Russia is also dealing with its sanctions as a result of the war in the Ukraine. So are these real efforts this time around, or is it just politics?
I don't know. I mean, this matter has not been argued in meetings. Mind you, I belong to the finance stream. And being chair of BRICS, I chair the stream of the finance ministers. So it's not a matter which has been canvassed sufficiently in our meetings as ministers of finance. So it's difficult to have a sense of what the issues are. I know as part of the bilaterals I'm going to have now is in some of the bilaterals, people have placed it on the agenda.
And when it comes to the kinds of criteria that you as the chair of BRICS will be looking at from a financial perspective when others want to join, will you be looking at the resources that they bring, the financial muscle? What are you looking at exactly?
Let me just say, in the NDB, where I've not been looking at the political membership, in the NDB we've already canvassed, we've done that. We've extended the scope of the membership of the New Development Bank, which is a BRICS bank. Egypt is part from Africa, has already joined it. Saudi Arabia and Bangladesh and a couple of countries have already joined. What has been a major issue, because they've always been keen to maintain a higher rating for that purpose. They've been looking at countries whose financial management is sound and therefore whose rating is sound. As a result, not to make sure that they maintain their higher rating. And that has always been, it's not new. Botswana is likely to apply. Namibia has shown an interest to members of the NDB. So we have been in the ball for a while in so far as this BRICS bank is concerned.
South Africa qualifies as a sound place to come and invest?
Yes, we are. I mean, if let me just tell you an interesting story. We in South Africa look at South Africa from our own eyes as a perspective. An investor look at South Africa comparatively to other emerging markets. Right? When you look at South Africa compared to other emerging markets, South Africa is still one of the best investment destinations.
And when you look at the gains that we're meant to get from this as South Africa, the gains that we're supposed to get out of this meeting taking place in the country as South Africa?
Look, first and foremost, the decisions that are going to be implemented have been work that is ongoing, shared by different South African streams. If starting at a low level, what is called deputies, which means officials up to ministers. So what you are likely to see here is an emergence of an already work done. What is this thing helpful about South Africa? is to the extent that this meeting is going to profile South Africa as one of the major countries in the global south. And for that reason, and I think that's the likely benefit we're likely to see.
All right, that's Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana. We have to let him go. I can see some of their staffers nudging towards us. Of course, the official state visit getting underway in a few moments, Xoli, at just 10:30. The 21 gun salute is one of the, pomp and ceremony items that we can anticipate to get underway. But certainly a positive story being bandied about by the ministers here, including Naledi, Pandor, who was, of course, one of the main hosts of this BRICS summit and this state visit, Xoli.
Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much. Very comprehensive update there from the Union buildings as the massive Chinese delegation makes its way around, or should we say behind Ziyanda there.